This video is an introduction to some of the key ideas around workplace teams. Let's start with a working definition of what I mean by a workplace team. A team is a small number of people who work together to achieve a shared goal. The important words in this are a small number of people, because the bigger the group gets, the less like a team it will be. A small number of people who work together, collaborate, is this joint endeavour. A group can be working on different things independently. A team is working together on the same set of things. A team is a small number of people who work together to achieve a shared goal. Yes, the team shares a goal, and they are all inspired and motivated by it. Workplace teams come in many different flavours. You might find functional teams drawn from one function within the organisation, or cross-functional teams which span multiple functions. They may be operational or project-based, brought together for one particular purpose. They could be co-located, or they could be virtual teams spread across a wide number of locations, or they could be a hybrid of both. And a team can be managed and led by an individual, or they can be self-managing and self-leading. Teams bring a large number of benefits to their organisations, and in that way contribute to their organisation's success. They do this by enhancing productivity, innovation and creativity and problem solving, effective decision making, and enhanced morale. Shared responsibilities and collaboration bring greater levels of productivity and efficiency in the way that teams work. Stronger relationships often lead to greater employee satisfaction, motivation, and morale. And by bringing together a number of people with different backgrounds, experience, perspectives, and expectations, the team can be much more creative, much more innovative, and find better solutions to problems. And it can make more robust decisions where team members are prepared to listen to those different points of view and to challenge one another constructively. Teams do not develop instantaneously. They come together from a group of people, and often from a group of people who don't know one another at the start. There are a number of models of team development, but perhaps the best known, most widely used, and my own personal favourite is the Tuckman Model of group development. This suggests that teams develop in a number of stages, and the first stage is known as the forming stage. In the forming stage, the team comes together, and under a leader or guide, they start to get to know one another and the tasks they need to do, but at the beginning, they're not very productive. Indeed, quite soon, you'll start to notice that people push at the boundaries. They want to express themselves. Some people will want to play a dominant role in the team. Some will want to find a niche where they can excel, and others will just want to find a safe space and a couple of friends within the team. This is where people's personalities express themselves and where often conflict can break out, particularly between the more dominant members of the team and the person who is leading them. Tuckman called this the storming phase. However, the storming phase is tiring, and not a lot of work gets done. It's an intensely social period in team development. But as people start to get to know one another and start to feel they know their place in the team, they can relax and get on with their work. At the next stage, which Tuckman called the norming stage, people focus on getting their work done, and the main team activity is finding a set of norms of behaviour, ways of getting on with one another. And as people get to know one another better, start to trust one another, the team moves into its next phase, the performing phase. And it's in the performing phase that the team really works well together, because not only does everyone get involved in the work that they have assigned to them, but because of their care for one another and their determination to collaborate towards a shared goal, team members will help one another out. In the performing stage, it does not take a lot of leadership. Indeed, self-managing, self-leading teams work very well in the performing stage. Tuckman, along with Marianne Jensen, also suggested that there was a final stage, an adjourning or mourning stage, where the team splits up and needs to mourn, or at least recognise the loss of a set of relationships that they all valued. So, if you want an effective team, what are some of my keys to crafting that effective team? Well, the first is diversity. Without a doubt, a diverse team is harder to manage and lead, but it will achieve more. The more diverse your team is, the more different perspectives and points of view it has, then the more creative it can be, and the more robust its challenges to one another will be. However, to get this, you need to find a way as a team leader to make everyone feel welcome and included and at home in the team. A fully diverse team has to be one where everyone feels they have an equal stake in the team and an equal say in the team, and where everyone treats each other with total respect. Next, a team needs to know its ground rules. It needs to know what its goals are to motivate it. It needs to have a sense of the plan that it's following and the direction it's going in. And it needs to understand the ground rules, the norms of behaviour that each of them hold one another accountable for. These expectations will sometimes be imposed by the organisation, sometimes by the leader, but are best when they're imposed and agreed by the team as a whole. With good ground rules in place and an inclusive atmosphere, the team can move on to another key element, which is trust and respect. People have to respect one another, not just behave respectfully. And they need to start to trust one another. Trust comes as we start to believe in each other. It's when we get to know one another well enough to feel confident of each person's experience and expertise, and to recognise that our colleagues around us are reliable and that we can rely upon them. Trust also grows from strengthening relationships and an understanding that each of our colleagues is a part of the team first and in it for themselves only second. To enhance all of this, we need excellent communication, which is essential if the team is to collaborate well and to resolve the inevitable conflicts that will come as different people with different points of view put their arguments to one another. If the team can communicate well, then everyone will know what's expected of them and will have a shared understanding of the situation at all times. Finally, a good, effective team needs good and effective leadership and management, although that can come from the outside. And as the team starts to perform well, good, effective leadership and management has a very light touch indeed. One might think of servant leadership, the need to do nothing more for the team than serve them by providing them with the resources and the information and the assets they need, and by protecting them from distractions and disruptions which will stop them doing their best work. However, there are many challenges that can face teams. First is the need to balance individual priorities with the team goals, and these may, of course, conflict at times. Along with this come personality clashes, which are inevitable with a diverse group of people, sometimes working under pressure, and all of this can lead to communication breakdowns. As a result, the team's leader, or the team itself, needs to develop conflict resolution procedures. It also needs to understand how to make effective decisions under pressure where there may be different points of view. And talking of pressure, teams need to learn how to adapt to change and to remain resilient and motivated when times get tough. And when times get tough, there can also be limitations on the resources available to the team and indeed their budget as well. Sometimes this can lead to a lack of trust between team members, as each member wants their own share of a diminishing resource that's available to the team as a whole. And finally, we mustn't forget that with the increasing prevalence of distributed virtual remote teams, that distance, that remoteness, and often the cultural differences that are amplified through it can be a really big challenge for any team. So, what are my thoughts for how best to deal with some of these challenges? Well, I would start with the need to set clear expectations of the team as a whole and of individual team members. This goes beyond the rules, it even goes beyond the plan. And once again, this expectation setting can be done by the team's leader, or it can be done by the team as a whole. The team needs to get together regularly and frequently enough so that people stay in touch and feel like they are part of the same team consistently. And because things can get tough and because we can sometimes feel remote from some of our colleagues, we do need to enforce respectful behaviours and respectful language. Every team member must feel empowered to call out disrespectful behaviour as soon as there is a first sign of it, so that it doesn't grow and become ingrained. This requires another thing: active listening. Team members must become adept at listening to one another and trying to see each other's points of view before putting forward their own. We can support this with certain team building activities, but these don't need to be grand away days or organised activities. These are simply team exercises and activities that pursue the things the team needs to be doing anyway as a whole team in a carefully thought out and well facilitated manner. But don't forget the social side of this. Find simple social activities that the team can all engage in. But importantly, these must not be compulsory. Everyone must feel able to join in, but also able to opt out if they choose. Finally, I'd emphasise the need to get used to recognising and celebrating successes, both team successes and individual successes. As I mentioned, managing virtual and hybrid teams amplifies these challenges. The three things I suggest you really need to focus on are trust, understanding, and connection. These are the bedrock, the foundations of an effective team, whether it's co-located or completely virtual. Of course, technology is crucial to create effective teamwork in a remote virtual team. Use the technology you have and find ways to use it well. Look at what people are doing that is particularly effective, learn from it, and disseminate that information across the whole team. Look for ways to enhance the technology you have and use it to its fullest. Make it as easy as possible for people to collaborate at short notice with one another, even at a distance. There are various types of tools and technologies that can facilitate this. But to my mind, the three main classes are these: collaboration tools, communication platforms, and project management tools. Collaboration tools are all about facilitating people working together. Communication tools put the focus on communicating with one another, and project management tools bring those together with a number of standard project management tools like work breakdowns and Gantt charts and roadmaps, Kanban boards, to enable the team to work on a shared project. Before I sum up, I want to point out that I have on this channel a whole course on teams. This goes into much more detail on many of the topics I've covered here. Things like the Tuckman Model, which I break down into a number of videos covering different stages, and a set of 7 videos on being effective in leading virtual teams. Do take a look at that course or the particular modules in it that interest you. Now, there are a number of trends that we can see in the way that workplace teams are evolving. The first is sometimes expressed as a growing importance of soft skills in team leadership, and I think that is absolutely bunk, but you will find it out there in the interwebs. However, what it does suggest to me is that there is a growing recognition of this importance. But the two big changes that I see are firstly the undeniable growth of virtual teams. COVID-19 has amplified and accelerated this, but this has been a trend for many years. And increasingly we will find ourselves working in teams that are massively diverse and span the whole globe. Understanding how to work effectively in those teams and to lead those teams is going to be a key workplace skill. But to help us, the other big trend is the rise of artificial intelligence-based tools and automation tools, which should help support remote team-based working, if used well. However, if used badly, they could leave people feeling isolated and alienated. So, to close, I recommend that you reflect on your own team experiences and on what I've been talking about in this video. What insights does that reflection give you on small things you can do to improve your team and your team working? Please do give this video a like if you've enjoyed it or learned from it. I'll be making loads more great management courses videos for you, so please do subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of them. I'll look forward to seeing you in the next one, and in the meantime, keep learning.